You've probably heard the phrase, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, or even more bluntly, your time has passed. Well, screw that. You are not too old to learn, and if anyone has told you that, they're lying to you. And I'm gonna give you advice on how you are going to learn a brand new skill, that skill you've always wanted to learn as an adult. So let's get into things. Hey y'all, thanks for clicking on my video and I'm happy to have you here. In this video, I'm going to be going over why you should pursue a new skill as an adult, how to identify which skills you actually want to learn, how to break down that skill in order for it to become more achievable, how to approach implementing a new skill into your routine, and what resources are out there to help you learn. This video is actually part of a series I have on my page called You in Bloom, where I'm demystifying the experience of being a late bloomer as a girly in my early 20s, which soon I'm not even gonna be able to say that because I'm gonna be in my mid-20s pretty soon. By talking about my own experience and journey and giving you advice on how you are going to bloom into the best version of yourself with videos like the one you're watching right now. But jumping straight into things, why should you learn a new skill as an adult? Well, I'll give you 3 reasons why. Firstly, to honor the younger version of yourself that's always wanted to learn that skill. Something I've talked about before on my page is becoming the version of yourself that young you can look at and not only feel inspired by, but feel so seen and heard because you are openly doing the thing that they have always wanted to do. Doing that hobby, having that quirk, doing that thing that you've always wanted to do for fun, or the thing that you love doing in your free time that maybe you were shunned for doing in the past. Well, this ties into skill building because something tells me that there is a skill, that one thing that you really want to learn is something that you have wanted to learn for a pretty long time. And it might be something that stems all the way back to your childhood. But due to some circumstances, or just because you never got around to it, or maybe you've tried in the past, but it didn't go as well, you never learned that skill. So this is a way to honor your childhood self, a way to honor your younger self, and finally learn that thing that you've always wanted to learn. Second, and more technically, as adults, our brains are challenged far less to learn new skills compared to when we were kids. I think as we get older, there are less and less situations that require us to learn new skills, especially if you have a job that's pretty monotonous or repetitive. So that part of the brain that is responsible for taking in and learning new information is just laying there dormant. So learning a new skill is a really good way to wake up that part of the brain. And lastly, and third, is self-esteem and confidence. If you're like me, this skill that you want to learn is something that you've maybe tried doing in the past, but you got frustrated and then you quit when you tried doing it before. Maybe you've quit multiple times. That's definitely my situation. Or you've just never gotten the hang of it. And it's probably made you feel really bad about yourself. Like, dang, I'm so incompetent that I can't do XYZ thing. Well, learning as an adult the proper way will help you boost your self-confidence and self-esteem, proving to yourself that you do have the capability to grow this skill and learn this thing. And so what is that proper way to learn? Let's talk about it. For starters, you need to pick one skill to learn at a time. One. As someone who gets frustrated really easily, this is definitely my experience, but it's important to focus all your time, energy, and attention into a singular thing instead of dividing all your attention up into a bunch of different tasks. This will help you learn that skill faster, and it will help you also avoid burnout. Okay, so I want to learn multiple things. And I hear you, if you want to learn multiple things, how do you pick the one? How do you pick that one skill that you're going to learn first? So what you're going to do is you're going to make a list of every single skill that you want to learn. Now identify which one your eyes are drifting to the most. Which one does your brain keep going back to? You just cannot stop thinking about this one more than all the other ones. I recommend choosing that one. You can also start with the one that you have a little bit of a foundation of already. Maybe you started learning it in the past and then you gave it up, or like I said before, you didn't really get the hang of it the first time, but you do still have a little bit of a foundation of learning, so maybe start with that one. In my case, that would be art and drawing. So out of my entire list of things that I've always wanted to learn, skills I've always wanted to gain, which includes like pottery, sewing, advanced videography, and there's many, many more things too, art and drawing is the one that my brain, that my heart, that my eyes always drift back to. So I decided that that's the thing that I'm going to try to master over the next couple of months, and what I have been working on for the past couple of months now. Next, you're gonna break down your skill building into goals and milestones. You will not achieve mastery overnight. Keep telling yourself that because it's not gonna happen. And you need to remind your brain that this skill is not gonna come super easily to you. So it needs to be broken up into small, manageable goals and milestones. Think about learning in a college class or in a high school class. Typically in that singular subject class, it is broken up into units and different lessons. It usually starts out slow in the beginning and then becomes more and more advanced over time. And there's typically short-term goals of what you should know at certain points, with of course tests and exams in the middle. We're not going to be testing or doing different exams, thank God. But this is how you should be approaching learning your new skill. And the type of goals you should be setting that you'll achieve by the end of whatever unit are called SMART goals. You may have heard of them before, but if you haven't, they are a framework for setting clear and actionable goals, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This means defining exactly what you want to accomplish, specific, ensuring you can track your progress, measurable, setting goals that are realistic, achievable, making sure it aligns with your broader objectives, relevant, and having a deadline, time-bound. You probably noticed the lighting is different now. I ran out of storage on my SD card. I have been running off an SD card with 64 gigabytes for too long. I just purchased one with 256 gigs because I can't do this anymore. And it took forever for the files to transfer, so long that it got darker in my apartment. So let's pretend this didn't happen. Moving on. SMART goals help you break learning and skill building into smaller, more manageable steps, making it easier for you to stay focused and motivated. We are not going to be quitting, getting super frustrated easily. And using this method will help you create a solid plan to make learning more effective. Here's an example of a SMART goal written out using myself as an example as I'm trying to improve my art and drawing skills. Quote, I want to learn how to draw using a pastel color scheme and style by consistently making small art pieces in that style over the course of 2 months and comparing my pieces to each other at the end of each week to, show and compare for improvement and growth. I highly recommend you make a similar sort of statement every time you are setting a short-term goal to make sure that it fits within the SMART framework. The next step to learning a new skill is practicing consistency over intensity. Before we do, water check once again. Y'all know I do these in every single one of my videos, well, at least the past 2 videos, but I'm gonna do this in every single one of these videos. I literally go too long without drinking water, and I need more checks like this. Today I'm drinking out of a cup from my alma mater, using my filtered Costco Brita filter water. Moving on. It's important that this skill building process becomes a part of your weekly routine because regular practice is what's going to help you learn this skill more efficiently and faster. Of course, there's no rush, but we don't want to prolong the process of being bad in the beginning as well. It is more effective to do small bursts of exercises and practice every other day or every day. Think like 15 minutes compared to only doing like 1-2 hour session a week or something like that. I understand that it's really difficult as well for people to find a ton of time a day to implement effective skill building practice, which is why you really only need to focus on doing 15 to 30 minutes a day, whatever works for your schedule. In the beginning, it might be difficult to implement skill building into your routine, so I recommend finding literally any excuse to apply that skill. So for example, something I did recently was I knew that the 2024 general election was coming up and my area has pretty basic and boring I voted stickers. Unlike that one state that has like that wolf that's ripping its chest open. I don't remember which state that is, but it's really cool that your states do really cool stuff like that. Mine does not. But anyways, I decided to make my own I voted sticker, just again to give me an excuse to draw, give me a reason to pick up the pen so I'm feeling more motivated and inspired to do so, drawing up my own sticker. So think of a multitude of different occasions that you can align your goal with. For an example, if you're trying to learn how to cook, think of all the upcoming holidays that are centered around cooking, whether it's Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, New Year's, Lunar New Year. Challenge yourself to learn how to create a specific dish to bring going to said dinner or festivities, forcing yourself to put in that practice to build your skill. Next, talking about resources. Of course, the internet is going to be your friend, but what are some specific sites that you can go to actually help you learn? But before I get into those, I just want to say there is nothing wrong with seeking out help. I think that society is like a little bit too obsessed with being self-taught, which is like this idea that you didn't get help from anyone. I taught all of this to myself. I learned this all on my own with no resources or anything. Not only is being self-taught a privilege, but also there is nothing wrong from seeking out help from people, especially pros in the field. Those pros, they're the ones who are going to teach you how to learn things without accidentally building any bad habits, or the proper structure, for example, with my art, how to do proper anatomy compared to, you know, maybe you're accidentally messing up some sort of proportions. And if you do learn bad habits, it's going to be really hard for you to break out of those habits later. And as adults, we are lucky to have access to resources so that we don't have to fall accidentally into those bad habits or bad routines that will delay our skill building. So some online resources and sites that I recommend are Skillshare, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, and Coursera. Those are all really amazing sites. I specifically use Skillshare a lot, actually. This is not sponsored, actually. But I actually used it due to a YouTuber promoting it. I don't remember which one it was at the time, but it's actually a really, really good site. And they have like trials and stuff on there a lot. So try it out and see if you actually like it. Literally what I'm using right now to edit this video, I learned how to use Adobe Premiere Pro from a Skillshare class. Like, it was very thorough, a lot better than the YouTube videos I found. And while YouTube is a really good free resource, I really loved how Skillshare had really specific classes for really niche skills and styles. And it was a lot more intentional too. And there's a lot of like industry pros on there. Anyway, really love the site, highly recommend that one. But there are a lot of different platforms that you can use. Oh, and also TikTok is a pretty good resource as well. I feel like TikTok actually has like a ton of resources. You'll be surprised. So try looking on there as well. And some final reminders, you are going to be bad in the beginning. And that is okay, that is normal. Being bad and recognizing that you need improvement is the very first step to growing that new skill that you've always wanted to learn. And mistakes are a natural part of learning. And instead of seeing your mistakes as a failure, view your mistakes as a stepping stone for progress and growth. Remember that every single master and pro in your field, that person that you're thinking of when you're like, I want to be able to sew like them, I want to be able to do pottery like them, I want to be able to cook like them, they all started out bad. They all started out as a beginner, and they had to start as a beginner in order to become a pro. And if you can, try to find some sort of community or group to hold yourself accountable. Places where you can share your work, spaces where other people are also going through growth journeys, so you can all keep yourself accountable and remind yourselves to actually practice and do the growing and the work to actually learn the skill that you're trying to learn. Whether it's a Discord server, a Facebook group, or a subreddit, you are definitely not alone with whatever skill you're trying to learn. And check out all those places to find a community out there so you can go through that process with other people. And of course, one of those communities is also my community, which is a community of fellow late bloomers who are all growing into the best version of themselves. And I'm always encouraging y'all to learn and grow, because you are not too old to learn. And if you want to join my community of who I call bloomies, who are all growing into the best versions of themselves, all you have to do is subscribe to my page, and optionally, but I would love to see it, leave a comment of whatever skill you are planning on learning. You can also find my other socials linked in the description. I hope your learning goes well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see y'all in the next video. And if you are a part of my community, I would love recommendations, by the way, on what other videos y'all would love to see. Thank you so much, and have a good day, night, evening, morning. I was like, I'm missing a part of day in that statement. I couldn't think of what it was. I will see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.